Welcome and thank you for joining us today. I'm Jaquetta Bernard and I work for the Institute for Healthy Living and Chronic Disease Prevention at UBC Okanagan. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that UBC Okanagan is situated on the traditional, ancestral, and ceded territory of the Syilx Okanagan Nation. And I'd also like to acknowledge that some of you may be joining us from other places near and far, and to acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands as well. Welcome to the 13th Annual Okanagan Embrace Aging Month, and thank you for joining us today. Embrace Aging is co-hosted with Interior Health and the Institute for Healthy Living and Chronic Disease Prevention at UBC Okanagan. We started Embrace Aging Month 13 years ago, and it was to celebrate and raise awareness for positive aging. And we've once again organized a month of events that's almost over now, of educational opportunities and events during the month of March. We have tried to make sure that the sessions are for everybody, young and old alike, with a focus on a variety of topics related to healthy aging and ways to improve the quality of life among seniors and family caregivers. Our goal is to inspire everyone to embrace positive aging. There's closed captioning. If you don't want to see closed captioning, you can turn it off by using the hide caption button on the menu bar. You can also move the closed captioning box to anywhere on your screen if it isn't in a nice place for you right now. Questions, comments for Heather during the presentation, or I'm sorry, Leah, during the presentation, please type them into the chat box as we're going. And as a little reminder, I will be sending feedback out after this event, and I really appreciate it if you could take a few moments to give us some feedback on your thoughts of this event and thoughts for future events. Today's session is How to Live Your Best Life, and our speaker today is Leah Otsig, and she is from the Institute on Aging and Lifelong Health at the University of Victoria. And yes, I'd like to turn the mic over to you now, Leah. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Jaquetta. I really appreciate your introduction, and thank you to all of you who are joining today. Welcome. We're going to talk about Self-Management BC programs. Self-management is a foundational component of BC's person and family-centered care philosophy. Originally developed at Stanford University, Self-Management BC programs are grounded in the concept of self-efficacy, which refers to a person's belief in their capability to execute behaviors necessary to produce a specific performance outcome. In the context of these programs, we're referring to the belief in one's ability to manage their health condition. Research at Stanford revealed that health outcomes are closely linked to an individual's sense of control over their conditions. This principle has been embedded into all Stanford-developed programs, which are now available in over 20 countries worldwide. Self-Management BC is one of the 5 provincial partners in BC's Patients as Partners initiative. This collaborative model acknowledges the complexity of chronic conditions and the importance of integrating specialized expertise across health and aging sectors. This initiative ensures equitable care and support for all British Columbians, regardless of ethnicity, background, and geographic location. Self-management programs, originally developed at Stanford University, are evidence-based programs and are endorsed by our BC Ministry of Health, the Centers for Disease Control in the United States, and the National Health Service in the United Kingdom. The definition of self-management for the purpose of our programs is the daily tasks that individuals need to undertake in order to live well with one or more chronic conditions. These tasks may include, but may not be limited to, gaining confidence to manage these conditions, continuing with a normal routine, and dealing with emotions. It's important to know that you are your biggest healthcare provider. This is important because people with chronic health conditions usually see their healthcare providers for an average of 6 hours per year. It is you who will be managing your health conditions 99% of the time. Our programs help to increase a person's self-efficacy, also known as self-confidence, so that people can better manage and live more positively with chronic conditions and or chronic pain. And now we'll be moving to our first out of our three first poll questions. As you see on the slide, this is a multiple choice question, so you are asked to choose the best answer of these four. The best answer to this question, and the question is, how would you define the term self-efficacy? So we'll give you a minute or so to answer the question or to choose the one out of the 4 points below, and then we'll review them.
Are you seeing the poll?
I do see slide number 4. I see the poll. It says, how would you define the term self-efficacy?
Okay.
And then all
Are
a person
people not
needs
able
to
to answer?
all a person needs to do is click on the best answer. I'm not sure.
No, nobody's answering.
Okay, maybe we'll just give them like 30 or 40 more seconds. You just need to click the up caret or the down caret to get your answer, or to choose one of the 4 answers, folks. And then we'll see how that goes.
Oh, okay. We got one person responding. So
There we go. Don't be shy. This is anonymous.
It's anonymous.
We won't know who's
There's
giving
no
the
way-
answer, so it's all good. You're in a safe room.
Okay, well, I'm going to end the poll at this point. We've had one response, so.
Okay, sounds good. So let's go over the question. And the question is, how would you define the term self-efficacy? And that is box number 3, which is right here. So thank you to the person who provided an answer. And we did review this in one of our previous slides. This refers to a belief in a person's capability to execute behaviors necessary to produce a specific performance outcome. So our programs are all about behavior change, and we help you to develop your self-confidence so that you can manage your condition, right? And that's about behavior change. So the main goal of our programs is to ensure behavior change with our participants, which is the reason for the length of our programs. Typically, our programs are 6 weeks in length, and this gives participants enough time to practice building on their skills. And such skills, some examples of them are action planning, decision-making, problem-solving, exercise and healthy eating tips, etc. The sole purpose for building skills to become good self-managers is all about improving one's self-confidence. And self-confidence is necessary to better manage your health and wellness. Okay. So here we're talking about self-efficacy again, and dealing with our chronic conditions can feel at times overwhelming for many of us. Our programs are designed to help participants strengthen their self-efficacy, also known as self-confidence. So I just want to quickly discuss the difference between people who experience a lower self-efficacy versus those who experience higher self-efficacy. So let's start with the people who experience lower self-efficacy. They typically avoid challenging tasks. They believe that difficult tasks and situations are beyond their capabilities. They focus on personal failings and negative outcomes, and they seem to quickly lose confidence in their own personal abilities to manage their chronic conditions. Now, moving into people with a higher sense of self-efficacy, these people develop a deeper interest in their activities. They form a stronger sense of commitment to their goals. They recover more quickly from setbacks and disappointments, which is really important when you're dealing with a chronic condition. And they view challenging problems as tasks to be mastered, which is really important when you're dealing with chronic pain and or chronic conditions. So to note again, self-efficacy, also known as self-confidence, is believing in your ability to overcome obstacles and achieve goals. Today, we'll cover proven strategies to help you and those you care for live well with chronic conditions and chronic pain. It's important to know that you are your biggest healthcare provider, because people with chronic health conditions actually see their healthcare providers for only an average of 6 hours per year. It is you who will be managing your health condition 99% of the time. To begin, our programs are all about breaking the symptom cycle. We'll talk about that shortly. I'll show you the symptom cycle. The symptom cycle for chronic conditions and chronic pain is what people experience when living with these conditions. We break this vicious cycle using the tools in our self-management toolbox. Okay, so let's show you the symptom cycle, and here it is. As you can see, there's 8 points around a circular body. And this is a brief introduction of the symptom cycle, which is what many people experience with chronic conditions and chronic pain. This is the cycle that we are trying to break with the tools provided to you in the self-management toolbox. Many people assume that these symptoms that they are experiencing are due to the disease. While the health condition can certainly cause pain, shortness of breath, and/or fatigue, it is only the cause. Each of these symptoms separately contribute to other symptoms, as noted on the slide, and all can make any other symptom worse. Even more concerning, these symptoms can feed off of each other. For example, depression, as you see here, can lead to poor sleep, jumps up here, and stress can also lead to poor sleep or even fatigue. And these symptoms can, of course, lead to more pain and/or shortness of breath, and so on and so forth. The interactions of these symptoms in turn make our condition worse. The situation becomes a vicious cycle that only worsens unless we find a way to break this cycle. Also, it's important to note that these symptoms on the cycle don't often move in a clockwise or counterclockwise fashion. Rather, symptoms can jump from one to another, moving from having pain, for example, to experiencing increased anxiety. The situation definitely varies based on each person's experience. We can learn to use the different tools in our toolbox to help break this vicious cycle when we experience them at different points. Okay, so we're moving on to poll question number 2. And here's the question. How many hours on average within 1 year do you spend managing your own health? We'll go over it. We'll give you a minute to answer, and then we'll review. Okay, so let's go over this. I did recently just speak about this bit of information here. Jaquetta, did anyone answer this particular
No.
poll question? Okay, I'm just going to close it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So do you recall how I mentioned that we see our healthcare practitioner on average roughly 6 hours within 1 year? So there are a total of 8,760 hours in a year, less the 6 hours roughly that we see our healthcare practitioner is about 1%. And we tend to manage our own health an average of 99% of the time, which is 8,754 hours in 1 year. So that's 87 and 60 hours less 6 hours, which is the time we visit our healthcare practitioner. That's where we get our answer, 874 hours in 1 year. That's a lot of hours and a great deal of times that we spend managing our health. This is the reason why it's extremely important to know how to manage our time for our health so that we can reap the best rewards and ultimately live our best life. So let's talk about the challenge of chronic conditions now. In BC, the number of people living with chronic disease is increasing. Among adults, based on the 2022 and 2023 fiscal year, 67% of BC females and 60% of BC males had at least one record of a common chronic condition in their lifetime. The prevalence of multimorbidity, which means having 2 or more chronic diseases, is also on the rise, which affects 25+% of BC adults and over 50% of BC seniors. As noted in the numbers on this slide, the current challenge is securing timely access to care. Many of you may have experienced the challenge of finding time to access your healthcare practitioner. Given these current stats, there are higher wait times at doctors' offices and also longer wait times to see specialists. What this means is that it's important to gain knowledge on improving self-management skills, which will help you to become more confident in managing your condition or helping someone in your family to care for them and to manage their condition. Okay, so we're coming up to our last poll question. And this question is, what is one example of a chronic condition? And there are many. So you can type in something that you may be suffering from, or perhaps one of your family members or a friend that you know of who is suffering from a chronic condition. There's so many, so there's any answer is correct. And we'll go over a few of the general chronic conditions that many of us are aware of shortly. So what is one example of a chronic condition? So did anyone respond to that slide, that particular poll question, Jaquetta?
We had 2 responses.
Excellent.
Yeah. Can you see the answers? I can't see them.
No, I can't.
Okay.
So what did they say? What were the 2 answers?
Oh, hang on. I'm learning.
That's all good. No worries.
No. They're not coming.
Not coming up? Okay, that's okay, no worries. So let's just review some examples of chronic conditions that you may have heard of or are aware of, or perhaps experience in your own life or in your family's lives. So we can talk about Alzheimer's and dementia, which is a neurological condition. Arthritis, which many people unfortunately have, and that's musculoskeletal. Asthma, COPD, which is respiratory. Anxiety and depression, which is mental health. Diabetes, which is metabolic. Heart disease, hypertension, stroke, which is cardiovascular. Parkinson's and MS, which is neurological. IBS is also based on the immune system, and HIV and AIDS is very prevalent in many communities throughout the world. Obesity is huge also. That's considered a chronic condition. And then sleep apnea is also considered a chronic condition. So those are some of the general chronic conditions that we know of, but there are many more that we don't know of. And okay, so let's move on to talk about our evidence-based programs. Did you know that self-management programs have been implemented in 25 countries now worldwide? Since 2000, our programs have been delivered in 160 communities around BC. So we are endorsed by Health Canada, the US Center for Disease Control. Our programs are also peer-reviewed and scientifically proven to build skills and improve self-confidence. What are some key benefits for you in taking our programs? Our programs help you, the participant, to live a healthier, happier, and more in control life. Participants report increased energy, less pain, improved coping skills, and overall, fewer emergency room visits. Essentially, participants gain the confidence to manage physical and emotional aspects of their chronic condition. Over 20 years of published research has found reduction in healthcare utilization. Most savings came from reduced time in the hospital, fewer emergency room visits, and reduction in symptoms. Self-management programs are available in 15 different languages and demonstrate effectiveness when offered to diverse language-speaking populations. At our organization, we offer our programs in English, Cantonese, Mandarin, and Punjabi. Okay, so let's talk about some tools that we have a total usually of 12 to 13 tools, depending on the program that you take for our self-management toolbox. Basically, the core skills that we teach in our programs are action planning, problem solving, and decision making, but there are many more. For example, with action planning, we work through an action plan every week. This is a small plan for you just to make for yourself. We talk about sleep and the benefits and strategies for getting a good night's sleep. We also discuss understanding emotions and how they negatively affect your condition. We discuss healthy eating, and we talk about how to make good food choices. We don't specifically talk about diets, but there are a few mentioned in our resource book. We discuss problem solving throughout the whole workshop, and we focus on problem solving techniques as well. We discuss physical activity and exercise and how you can best be physically active in order to help manage your symptoms. We also discuss pain management. We review and discuss information on how to improve pain by focusing on diet, exercise, fatigue, and sleep, and how many of these aspects directly and indirectly may negatively affect your health. Being aware and learning can drastically improve your pain levels. We also discuss health aspects of healthy eating and how pain can be directly related to some of the foods that you eat. With regards to communication skills, we discuss how to ask for what you want by using the I message versus the you message. You'll also learn about working with your healthcare professionals and how to best communicate with them so that they listen. And finally, in the 6th session of our workshops, we discuss the self-management tools that we've used and what plans you will make for yourself within the next 3 to 6 months with the tools that you want to use that have helped you over that 6-week period. Okay, so before we move on to the latter part of this and discuss our specific programs, I want to talk to you about or share a recent testimonial from one of our program participants. So you can just sit back and listen. This lady just recently finished taking one of our virtual diabetes workshops, but also did 3 years ago participate in the chronic pain program. Here is my learning journey with Self-Management BC. 3 years ago in 2023, I participated with the chronic pain program due to my lower back pain from a car accident. Having been on a wait list for the pain management program at the Pattison Clinic, my family doctor recommended that I should take the 6-week program offered by UVic, of which I did. I learned to better understand the vicious cycle of pain and what could be done to minimize the pain. Having learned with others in a group and through sharing, it led me to develop an action plan and to follow through with it. 2 years after, when my placement with the clinic came along, I was better prepared to ask questions based on the communication techniques I learned. I received 3 injections to determine what aggravates the pain. As well, I received a physio follow-up to strengthen the core muscles. By the time the specialist recommended the heat therapy injection that gives a 1-year relief, I am proud of my decision-making not to forego this procedure. I'm convinced that with all the skills I learned from the pain management program, my pain could be better managed in the long term. The second testimony refers to the virtual diabetes workshop, which she just completed. I took the class as an encouragement to a friend whose husband is highly diabetic. I tried to encourage her to take the course in order to improve her caregiving skills. In my case, I took the course for diabetes awareness. My greatest takeaway is reading food labels, serving sizes as opposed to serving portions, meal planning that includes shopping and food combining, and most of all, understanding that I am using more fats than my body needs on a daily basis. Now, I realize that the book offers a wealth of practical knowledge arranged in a way that it is easy to understand. So initially, in the first program that she took, she only read the chapters that she felt were useful for her at that particular time. On a preventative measure, the book and the workshop presentation are really helpful to ease worries on how to handle the demand of the healthcare system. As the book describes on self-management, good health begins where the person is, and better health is achievable by asking and working with the family doctor, GS. So we get many amazing testimonials throughout the year. And this is just one example of a really great testimonial and how it helped this person, and that this person actually returned to our programs. And that's another thing that you can do. We have recurring participants. They have taken the program, let's say 3-5 years ago, their life changes, they need to come back because of another situation, or perhaps to take the same program just to revisit different skills that they want to relearn. Let's talk about the programs that might work for you. So we have a total of, well, we've got a few programs happening here, and they're all very popular. And one of the most popular are the top 3. So we've got the Toolkits for Active Living, which is a program that is independent to the learner. So you can choose, if you look in this column, we've got the 4 programs: chronic conditions, chronic pain, diabetes, or cancer. You as the participant can choose which program you want to be delivered to your house, and then you can review it on your own time schedule. It's important for you to know that all of these programs are free and sponsored by the Ministry of Health for anyone 19 years of age and older. Our next program that I'd like to discuss is our in-person workshops. They're 6 weeks in length, typically in a group format of up to 12 people, with the same program offering as the toolkits, and they are 2.5 hours weekly. Okay, not all program, we have different regions in BC, and some regions offer more in-person workshops than others. The reason for that is because we are a volunteer-led organization, so we train volunteers to facilitate these workshops. And so at any one time, we may have more volunteers in one area than in another, which is the reason why we may have less programs for in-person than virtual workshops. So let's talk about our virtual workshops. These are very similar to the in-person workshops, except that they're offered in the Zoom format. They're also 6 weeks in length, offered 2.5 hours weekly, for the same program options of chronic conditions, chronic pain, diabetes, or cancer. And we typically see a total number of up to 12 people in these groups. Let's move on and talk about our health coach program and our frailty coach programs. Frailty coach being the most recent and newest program that we have to offer. So our health coach and frailty coach programs are 13 weeks in length, and it's offered by phone on a one-to-one basis. So you would be, as a participant, paired with a health coach. And these programs are offered for either chronic conditions or chronic pain, and they're usually held by phone for 30 to 45 minutes weekly. Our final program that we offer is the Better Choices, Better Health program. That's strictly for chronic conditions. It's an asynchronous program, which means it's strictly online. You don't see any humans. Its format is basically on a message board, and each week is a different module, which represents different information. There's short answer questions, there's multiple choice questions that you will go through, and that's how it checks your knowledge and reviews what you have learned to see that you are good with it. And in order to access our programs, you can visit our website, and I'll be showing you our contact information in the next slides. So you can visit our website, or you can call our toll-free number, or you can email me. Okay, and I'm the regional program coordinator for the BC Interior. So just so you know, you're not alone. This is really important to know. By participating in one of our programs, you can connect with peers and professionals who understand your journey. By investing time in your health, you move from a passive to an active partner in your healthcare journey. These programs have demonstrated efficacy and effectiveness when delivered via the internet, in person, and as a toolkit delivered by mail. These programs have reached more than 1 million people worldwide. And just to let you know, I'd like to share with you our participant 6-month post-program effectiveness. So what this means is we send out surveys to people a few months after they've taken our programs, and we ask them to answer a set of questions. So based on those sets of questions, we've come up with some very positive and interesting information. These participants have believed from taking our programs that they have better health, that they are now practicing more ways of coping with their symptoms. They were less limited in their daily activities. They're experiencing less shortness of breath, as well as less pain. They were less bothered by their illness, and they had a higher level of self-efficacy to manage their chronic conditions, chronic pain, their symptoms, and perhaps depression if they have it. Our self-management BC programs stand out for their comprehensive, evidence-based approach. Unlike programs focused solely on specific behaviors, these initiatives empower individuals to take proactive roles in managing their health. Okay, so before we leave this presentation, I'd like us to practice a relaxation body scan. This exercise can enhance the quality of rest, ease, and decrease painful muscles. It can also help with shortness of breath. This activity not only relaxes the mind, but also relaxes the body. This technique is one which is part of our self-management toolbox titled Using Your Mind. And just as a side note, if anyone is not interested in participating in this exercise, which is only about 5 minutes, then please feel free to shut down your audio and video until we complete this activity. As you get into a comfortable position with both feet on the floor, allowing yourself to begin to sink comfortably into the surface below you, allow your eyes to close gradually. From there, turn your attention to your breath. Breathing in through your nose, allowing the breath to gradually move all the way down to your belly. And then breathing out through your mouth slowly. And again, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, noticing the natural rhythm of your breathing. Now, allow your attention to focus on your feet. Starting with your toes, notice whatever sensations are there. Warmth, coolness, whatever's there, simply feel it. Imagine that as you breathe in, the breath goes all the way down into your toes, bringing it new, refreshing air. And now, noticing the sensations elsewhere in your feet, not judging or thinking about what you're feeling, but simply becoming aware of the experience of your feet as you allow yourself to be fully supported by the surface below you. Next, focus on your lower legs and knees. These muscles and joints do a lot of work for us, but we often don't give them the attention they deserve. So now, breathe down into the knees, calves, and ankles, noticing whatever sensations appear. See if you can simply stay with the sensations, breathing in new fresh air, and as you exhale, releasing tension and stress and allowing the muscles to relax and soften. Now, move your attention to the muscles, bones, and joints of the thighs, buttocks, and hips. Breathing down into the upper legs, noticing whatever sensations you experience. It may be warmth, coolness, a heaviness, or lightness. You may become aware of the contact with the surface beneath you, or perhaps the pulsing of your blood. Whatever's there, what matters is that you are taking time to learn to relax. Deeper and deeper as you breathe in and out. Next, move your attention now to your back and chest, feeling the breath fill the abdomen and chest, noticing whatever sensations are there, not judging or thinking, but simply observing what is right here, right now. Allowing the fresh air to nourish the muscles, bones, and joints as you breathe in, and then exhaling any tension and stress. Now, focus on the neck, shoulders, arms, and hands. Inhaling down through the neck and shoulders, all the way down to the fingertips. Not trying to relax, not trying too hard to relax, but simply becoming aware of your experience of these parts of your body in the present moment. Turning now to your face and head, notice the sensations beginning at the back of your head, up along your scalp, and down into your forehead. Then become aware of the sensations in and around your eyes, and down into your cheeks and jaw. Continue to allow your muscles to release and soften as you breathe in nourishing fresh air, and allow tension and stress to leave as you breathe out. As you breathe in this fresh air, allow it to spread throughout your body, from the soles of your feet all the way up through the top of your head. And then exhale any remaining stress and tension. And now take a few minutes to enjoy the stillness as you breathe in and out, awake, relaxed, and still. As the body scan comes to a close, you are now coming back into the room, bringing with you whatever sensations of relaxation, comfort, peace, whatever's there, knowing that you can repeat this exercise at any appropriate time and place of your choosing. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So just as a suggestion to everyone, you may want to consider trying this body scan as part of a rest period or when cooling down after exercise. It can also be helpful in relieving pain, helping sleep, and combating fatigue. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of this presentation. I want to share with you some contact information if you're interested in looking into our programs, or you know somebody who might benefit from them. We do have a toll-free line, as you can see here on this slide, which is 1-866-902-3767. Our website is www.selfmanagementbc.ca. And I am the regional program coordinator of the BC Interior. My name is Leah, and you can email me below if you have any further questions, okay? So thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your time and hope that you've learned something about our programs, and we do hope to see you in the future.
Thank you, Leah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions or comments coming in just yet. So maybe you covered the topic perfectly. What I thought was really interesting is that this is being offered as a free program for people.
It certainly is.
And this is the first time I've ever heard of it. So
there you go.
How do we spread the words? Because it sounds like
word.
it's very valuable.
You know,
honestly.
by doing something like this, having a presentation and learning about it and sharing it with others, it's really important. We are actually, what we are is a nonprofit agent or organization. So we are under the Research Institute, which is supported by the University of Victoria. We are under the Institute of Aging and Lifelong Health, so considered a nonprofit organization. So that's why we, advertise via presentations and groups and situations like that.
Yeah, okay. So I did have one comment. I guess it was regarding the polls. I need more practice at them, but apparently there wasn't enough time. So I'm sorry for that. Yeah. So no, Leah, they don't have any questions that have come in.
Wonderful. Well, you know how to reach me. My email's here. And again, we ask that you connect to our website. Basically, what you do is you fill out an application, and if you want a chronic pain toolkit, or there's a different program, like let's say the health coach program that you're interested in, you sign up and someone will call you. That's how that works. If there's someone who really doesn't use the internet, that's why we have the toll-free number available, and they can just use their phone and call in, and one of our support staff will be able to help them.
Okay, so I have a comment here. It says also asking how much time I look after me in a year. Oh, and asking for 1 week would be better.
1 week would be better for what?
Yeah.
Oh, so when we talked about the general timeline with which we see doctors, it's roughly 6 hours on average per year, which means that the rest of the time we need to take care of ourselves, which is about 8,754 hours in a year. That's what I was trying to portray, that's a lot of time that we have for ourselves, that we need to manage our condition, right? It's more than people realize, and that's why I needed to share that information.
Right. Well, like you said, it was 99% of our time in the year that we are taking care of ourselves exclusively.
Exactly.
So, yes. Yeah, well, I hope that this has made people question some of the services that could be of value for them with the self-management program, and especially learning about it and knowing that it's free and available online. Even it just makes it very accessible. So
it's definitely accessible for those in areas that, like for example, in the Kelowna, Kamloops, Penticton area, we really don't offer too many or any at all at this time in-person workshops. So all our workshops for people in this region, you would need to take virtually. And we have great success with our virtual programs because people who, let's say, live in rural areas or have mobility issues, these are great programs for them, right?
Yes, I can see
They're
that.
accessible.
Yes, yeah, that's so true. And also, with the different groups, with the chronic conditions and chronic pain, etc. So yeah, you can get very specific into the area of need that you want.
Definitely. And for our diabetes programs, for example, you don't have to actually be a diabetic to take our programs. Many people are diagnosed as having pre-diabetes. So that would be the really good time to jump in there and learn about what you can do to stop that condition, right?
Right, stop it. Yeah.
Moving forward, because once you have it, there's no going back. That's really, really important.
Okay, well, I'm not seeing any other questions, so I'm just going to thank you, Leah, for sharing all this information with us, and thank everybody for joining us today. I will be sending out a feedback for this presentation, so I'd really appreciate it if you would take the time to answer that. And we are getting to the end of March, so the last few events for Okanagan Embrace Aging are happening, but there's some still very good activities and information sessions available. So please visit Okanagan embraceaging.com to see what's left and to register. And yes, I hope everybody enjoys. Well, here in the Okanagan, we're having a lovely afternoon, so I hope everybody can enjoy the rest of the afternoon today. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for joining.
Goodbye.